Hey, Ugly Mug fans. I am Hanna Broom, marketing manager here at Ugly Mug Marketing, and I am here with Joseph LeBlanc. He's going to talk to us about leadership. Joseph is actually my brother-in-law, and he is a very intelligent guy, so I'm super excited that he's going to share with y'all today. So, Joseph, do you want to explain a little bit more about what you're going to talk to us about and a little bit more about you?
Yeah, thanks, Hanna. So just to start, like Hanna said, I'm her brother-in-law, so I'm married to her sister. You know, together we have three beautiful boys, age 7 and under. So that's what I spend most of my time during the day and in the evenings with. But in between there, I try to work and like the rest of you from home. So that's been quite interesting. But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about leadership today. I have spent 11 years in the oil and gas industry. For a company called Motiva Enterprises, where I still work. I've had jobs that range from refinery support engineering all the way through strategy and business development, finance, and I currently work in crude trading. So I've seen a lot of areas of the organization. I've worked in different countries. I've worked with a lot of different cultures. So glad to chat on this subject and give my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that y'all have been, both working from home, but also the oil and gas industry has been quite a roller coaster here lately. So it's really putting you to the test.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us leadership, just get us started on what your favorite topics are.
You know, when I think of leadership, I always, my go-to is I like to listen to a lot of Simon Sinek material on YouTube and read his books and different podcasts and stuff that he puts out. What I really connect with that his message is around people matter. Leadership is about, the people aspect of business. It's something that is easily overlooked. We often hire the best technical experts, the best, people who execute the job day in, day out. And we sometimes forget that the people side of things and managing people sometimes requires a different skill set than the day-to-day work that we do in any business. And so for me, just, really connecting people to leadership and making sure you're having the right impact in every interaction, whether you're the boss, whether you're, the entry level person in the company. It's about making sure that the impact you have on others leaves them with the impression that they can trust you and that they can go to you for help and for, anything they need in the future. So that's what I think of when I think of leadership. It's not necessarily the standard, this is my boss, he's my leader. It's that doesn't really connect for me. For me, it's more about who do I trust? Who do I go to in times of need? Who's the guy I can call up at any time of day and they'll do me that favor because they know it's important. Who are the people who are really making a difference in an organization?
Yeah, for sure. So Wayne, our Ugly Mug owner, he had us listen to one of Simon's podcasts, and the whole podcast was about the Ritz-Carlton, and it's talking about leadership starts with the bellhop, the person that greets you at your car whenever you drive up. Have you listened to that episode?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and he was just saying that it doesn't matter if you get there and you have a bad first impression, it's going to be harder to overcome that. So leadership is important throughout the organization. You're right, it doesn't matter where you are on the so-called totem pole. It's super duper important. Is there any certain tactics that you use or maybe some methods that you use?
For me, I've kind of preached this to the young engineers that I mentor, is always make sure you're doing the things that people care about the most. And what I mean by that, I don't mean the people that your boss cares about the most. Those are important, by the way, to keep your job. But what I really mean is the people around you that you're working with, going the extra mile to help them in things that they need support on. If you get random requests from people all day, there's multiple approaches. One is you can complain about it. You can whine that so-and-so doesn't do their job and this and that. And I hear that all the time in my business. And some of it's true, but the people who I've seen that are really successful are the people who will just jump in and help tackle problems. And it's not to say you have to go and solve everyone's problems, but it's about
for sure.
genuinely giving people your time and your effort for things that help them in their day to day. Because then what that does is that builds a relationship of trust that when you need their help, when you are the one who needs something done tomorrow or by, in 2 hours on this deadline, they will drop everything they're doing to help you. And so, I'd like to think I've built a career on, building relationships that I know the people I can go to for at any given time and get the information I need, get that work done. And that just builds a way for you to be someone that people know they can rely on. And then you'll find those same people in your organization that you can rely on. And to me, that helps build that network and that presence for you that you have that support group.
Yeah. I think that is something, Wayne, our owner here, that's something that he does an excellent job at, is not only being our boss and the owner, but he leads so well. Like, he's not the kind of person that, like, if you make a mistake, like just yesterday, I made a mistake and I wasn't scared to come to him because he knows that everybody makes mistakes. And, obviously I put the pressure on myself that I won't do it again, but he's there to like stand beside me and fix it and, present the best solution to the client. And I think that's huge because I know we've all had, quote unquote leaders, bosses in our lives who you go to them with a mistake and they just tear you down, and that's not helping anything.
No, for sure. I mean, those type of people, they've either forgotten how they got to where they were, or they lucked out and got there anyway. But those type of people who lead that way with fear, they often aren't successful, and their organizations are dysfunctional. Those are the type of people who everybody reacts out of fear, but they're not giving their best. They're just doing what was said, right? They're not looking for improvements. They're not going to come to them with mistakes. They'll try to cover up mistakes.
Exactly.
Which can lead to much bigger problems, right? So you're right. 100%. I mean, that's a great style of leadership.
Yeah. So anything else, like maybe some recommendations, would you care to share some of those podcasts with me so I can link those below?
Yeah, I'll send you some of the ones I like. I mean, actually, Simon's been doing some really cool stuff from his home during COVID, where he's just talking about the new normal and the fact that there is no going back to the old way of life. That, to him, this is as groundbreaking as the internet was. And there's things like that in leadership, that leadership will be different from now on. There'll be a lot more virtual interaction. There'll be a lot more expectation to give flexibility as we see how businesses can react to this. Our business, I've been home since March 12th, for example. I have not stepped in my office since March 12th. I work for a very big company. I work across many organizations. We support a processing plant in Texas, so it can be done. We've proven that. And I think that leadership will have to react and change in that way. And so, yeah, I'm glad to share some of the podcasts I like from him. But I think that's the big message here, is just that reacting and adapting to these changes as a leader is important. Understanding that people's load in daily life has changed. I don't mind, for example, I'm not a team lead anymore. I've ran teams in the past, but I'm currently doing a different type of role in trading. But I don't mind, for example, if my team would work from home and work at 9 o'clock, but yet go to their kids' soccer game at 3. That's fine for me, as long as you're getting your workload done. And that's kind of how our organization has been set up. And I've been quite happy with that in my work-life balance, because, just today I had a 10 o'clock call. I had speech therapy for my son. And my organization is quite flexible to let me take that call. And they still know that if they need me at 6 o'clock tonight, if they need me at 7, I'll be there. As long as they give me the flexibility I need, I'm willing to give them the flexibility they need. Right. And so
100%.
Yeah.
What would be your advice on leading remotely? Because you can't, if somebody's not, in the room with you and you can't see them, I know you're not necessarily in that role right now, but I know you've been in that role before.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be interesting, because what I've been telling our teams right now is that, it's one thing to interact and lead a group that really well. And for the last 6 months, that's not too bad because most teams don't change within 6 months.
For
But
sure.
over the next year, if this continues, that'll become really interesting as you get new teammates and try to onboard new people to what your company does, what your group does, virtually, right? Without even really
Yeah.
meeting them.
Yeah.
So
Culture.
yeah, absolutely, developing a culture. And so, I think the biggest thing is lots of group chats like this. We do them every morning and every afternoon. We have our team, our core team is 10 people, and we have a video chat every morning, every afternoon. And I think that's really important to stay connected. Not everybody shares the camera every time, depending on the day you're having, but we try to encourage
Yeah.
them to show, frequently, let us see your face, let us see the mood you're in. It
Yeah.
helps read people better.
And accountability for
And
sure.
accountability, you're not just staring at your phone while we're on the meeting call and that kind of stuff. And then, otherwise, it's really just about enabling them to get their work done. So figuring out what IT tools they need, what help, that support they need at their home, whether it's they don't have the right internet type or, connection, or they need new office chair or new headset or whatever it is. I just think we're going to have to be more flexible in the future on, how do we use our budgets to make our employees more effective at home? Because right now our IT budgets are all set up to make the office the perfect place to
Yeah.
work, and we have no money set aside for getting people office chairs or getting people desks or better internet. And I think depending how long this goes, leaders are going to have to really engage and figure out what are the challenges that their employees are facing. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the simple, oh, so and so from this group isn't working well with me. I think it's going to be much more, well, my kid's sick from school and he's not allowed to go in for 2 weeks, and my husband's a doctor and he's at the office and I'm stuck here, or so on and so forth. So I think the challenge is just trying to get a feel for your employees, staying in constant communication to really understand what they each need. But I can't overemphasize the video aspect of working remote enough. I think without that, you really lose the human touch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good to see you because I haven't got to see you in a while.
That's true. That's true. We have not seen each other in a long while.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to share?
No, I mean, that's really my message there. I would just ask that, people really keep in mind the importance of relationships and how important people are in business. A happy employee group will always produce better than a group that feels like they're being, forced to do things,
Oh yeah.
or a group that just doesn't feel valued. Back to that Ritz-Carlton example, the cool thing about that with Simon Sinek, when he shared a lot of that information, one of the coolest things that they did was they gave their employees a big amount of flexibility to comp people who were staying at their hotels, right? To offer
Yeah.
them things that most hotels would need very high level management, like free rooms or free drinks.
Right.
And so their employees felt so safe to do anything they needed to make the employee experience right, that they actually went above and beyond to make that happen, to the point that it doesn't necessarily cost Ritz-Carlton any money. It actually makes them a ton of money because
Yeah.
people love the experience. And so giving your employees that safe place to be and that safe environment will then cause them to generate ideas that you haven't even thought of to
For
make you
sure.
more money in the future. So just again,
Yeah.
emphasizing the people aspect. I can't quote that enough. And just follow your heart. Make sure you're being a person to them.
Yeah. And what a great way to get referrals too. Whenever somebody goes to your hotel and you're like, I was comped all this stuff, you're going to tell people about that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you so much. It was so good talking to you. And I know everybody's going to love everything you had to say about leadership. And send me those links. I'll post them below in this video.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
Of course. Thank you. Bye.